We're going, so whenever you want to go here.
Well, you said you're going to do the thing.
Well, but we start talking first.
I thought you said you had something you wanted to show me.
Well, I wanted something you listen to, but we got to do, talk first and then go to that.
All right, whatever.
All right, fine. Keith, listen to this. Let me know what you think.
It's time to hit the trail. Lock in those hubs and throw it into low range. Because you are listening to Wheelin' with Keith and Johnny Orange. They're here to talk about 4x4s and everything to do with enjoying the great outdoors. Here's your hosts, Keith and Johnny Orange.
All right, what'd you think?
That sounds pretty good, man. So this is going to be the new intro for now?
Yeah, I might tweak it a little bit here and there still. It's nothing anyone's going to really notice. Hopefully everybody likes it. Chime in on 4x4 Talk. Let us know what you think.
Is that you rocking out on the guitar there?
Unfortunately, no. That's the same person who wrote the music for our original intro.
Oh.
This was later in the file. I've been tweaking it and working on it for a while now. Just trying to change it up. Figure 2 years, let's freshen it up a little bit. Something new for people. And I just played the rest of the file. I thought it was a small section that we had. We were using a fraction of the actual music file from whoever wrote that and played it. And it's like, no, I like this better.
Hey, no, you're right. Episode 101, it's time to kind of, the next 100, let's do something a little different here. So,
I like it.
I'm all about that. And you're doing such a great job, man. I love what you're doing with all the intros and all the editing and the outro music now. Are you keeping that too, doing the outro music?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So that'll be a slightly different version of the normal outro, a little more of a rock theme like this new intro here. And we'll go from there.
Sounds good, man.
And I got to ask, what's with the rock on your arm there, buddy?
The rock on my arm?
Yeah.
Oh, the engagement ring?
No,
Oh.
the big thing that's like encompassing your arm. It appears to have swallowed your entire arm.
That would be the wonderful cast after my surgery that goes all the way up to my armpit, and so I get it off
That's
next
gotta be
Monday. I guess get to spend a month in this thing. It's
Been that long already?
well, the first one was a temporary cast, and then that one they had to cut off, and then they went and put this one on, and that
Gotcha.
first one after the surgery, I felt so good. I mean, the day after the surgery, I felt so good that I just was like, hey, you don't even put a cast on, but hey, I'll tell you what happened here. So folks, you're wondering what we're talking about. I think maybe it mentioned on a show.
Hit it.
What? Hit
Let's
what?
hit it on the table so I can hear.
Oh, that's
Way quieter than I
it's
expected.
fiberglass.
I
Anyways,
thought it was going to make more of like a
thunk.
kind
Yeah.
of sound.
Oh, gotcha. No, I've been having
Trying
a
to
lot of
help the
problems.
listeners visualize what is
Nice.
happening.
I've had a lot of problems with my elbow. A lot of pain with it. Was going to one doctor. He was a really nice guy, but really didn't. He wasn't seeing the issue the right way, I guess. Eventually sent me over to another specialist who looked at the MRI and said, basically it was a form of severe tennis elbow from wrenching on stuff over the years, work with hammers, all that. But I had ripped the muscle off the bone, and then a portion of it had died. So when they opened it up, he said that it just came out like snot. It was basically all rotted in there and it was all zombified, which is one of the reasons. You're adjusting your belt as I'm talking about my arm.
On.
Oh, okay. Anyways, it was they cut it out and they took care of it and
Fun.
yeah. So I'll talk maybe more about it later or on the after show or something. And speaking of which, here I want to toast our getting through 100 and going to 101 now. And I want to tell our listeners that we do have a sponsor for this episode, and that is Lynch's Irish Tavern in Port Huron, Michigan. They are a fantastic place, been there for well over a decade.
I love their Reuben egg rolls. Oh my God.
Do they still have those?
Last time I was there, they did.
I love the Scotch eggs they have.
Never had those.
Scott Scandolito is the owner. He has, he's a big beer enthusiast, and he has just at any given time, he's going to probably correct me next time I see him, but he has 20, 30 different beers on tap at least. A lot of different, and then a lot of unique bottled beers and all sorts of other interesting drinks.
Nice.
Great place for a beer enthusiast. He has a lot of Michigan beers, has a lot of other stuff. And I happened to be having a beer with him the other day, and we were talking about some podcasting things and whatnot, and I happened to notice this bottle of what's called Canoe Clue down, and it was his last bottle he had, down in the bottom of his cooler there, and he told me I need to bring it, because I told him you like meads, and I believe it's a mead, because it's by the Bardic Wells Meadery. And so I told him I'm going to bring it on the show. Now, typically, folks, John and I have a beer on or two on the Aftershow. And so if you're interested in hearing beer reviews, a lot of times for at least the last 10 or 15 episodes of the Aftershow, we've been doing some really unique beers that John's been mostly bringing in. Thank you again for that.
Yeah, no worries.
And we have the beer, we drink it, we talk about personal things in life, we talk about trucks and cars still, a little bit more of a laid-back show.
A lot of stuff we can't talk about on the regular show.
Yeah, that's true. And so we're going to give you a taste today, a little bit of that, and what we do in the after show. So this is a bit of a taste of the after show for you. And we hope that what you like, or that you like what you hear, yep. And...
Two different spellings.
Yeah,
Works.
there you go. And if you do, go over to patreon.com. What is it, /Wheelin'?
Yeah, patreon.com/WheelinRadio.
/Wheelin' Radio.
Yep.
And you can sign up there. Now, in the future, we might be doing something with a different paid service.
I've been playing around with it on Patreon.
Uh-huh.
Or not Patreon, on Podbean, which is our normal host for the shows,
Yep.
And they have a premium service. So it's a one-time cost. And the listeners will get access to everything that we've done.
Yeah.
I have a temporary thing set up. Please don't sign up for it right now. I have the price set really, really high. I mean, if you really want to, go ahead.
All right.
But there's only one episode on there right now, and I'm just kind of playing with the settings and the layout and to see kind of how I want to go forward with it if we do. And if we do, I'm debating if I want to bring all the episodes over from Patreon or just from this one forward.
Gotcha.
So I'm kind of debating on that. I don't know. I mean, I suppose we could maybe put a poll up on 4x4 if either of us remember to do it. See, I don't know if any of you guys do use like premium content services or subscription-based services. Obviously, a couple of you guys do. You're on Patreon.
Yeah, and thank you for...
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for your patronage.
Yep,
I used the word.
like it.
But yeah, let us know if it's something you prefer, like a one-time cost or a monthly thing that you can cancel. That would just help kind of give us some input as far as the direction to continue taking that, because I'm not sure what I want to do with it.
Well, yeah, and the reason that we ask for you to support us on Patreon and things like that is not that we're getting rich. Hopefully, maybe someday that'd be great, but
yeah, it would be sweet.
It's just for costs of equipment and hosting services. A lot of the things we have monthly and yearly membership fees that we have to pay.
Yep.
And so by doing that, you're helping support the show, at least keep the show going, so it's not completely all out of our own pockets here.
Yeah, and when,
helping share the wealth a little bit.
Yeah, when we have stuff coming in, we can upgrade equipment, upgrade software.
Exactly.
There's a lot of features of some of the softwares we use we don't access because there's a cost to it. And yeah.
Exactly.
So.
Well, without further ado, John, let's give people a taste. How do you normally start off our after show here?
Cracking it open.
Well, let's do this.
If I don't screw that up.
All right. Well, you got your opener with you?
Upstairs in the fridge with the other bottle.
Oh, man. All right. So you're going to have to find something else. Let me see. What do you got laying over there? Give me something metal, man.
I think there's tin snips. I see. Let me grab them.
Oh, there you go. We can do this with tin snips. So we're already starting off to a nice redneck show here.
Or you want a pipe wrench?
Oh, the pipe wrench. Do you want me to do this with a broken arm?
I got a box.
Yeah, the reason that they said that I had to have the second cast because they took a DeWalt drill to my arm and drilled a bunch of holes in it to re-anchor the muscle, and they said it would really easily break. So that's why. And I asked the guy. I says, so I actually made a joke about a DeWalt, and he told me it actually is a DeWalt. And he says it's like a $20,000 drill, and he says it looks just like a regular one. It's just a medical grade DeWalt drill. Oh, did you get it? Oh man. Man, John, you're failing me here, buddy.
I brought the bottle opener.
Oh, geez. You usually hear the crack, the hiss. All right, look at this. Now you can do it.
Maybe.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Haha, yes.
That works enough.
All right, here's a couple glasses, buddy.
We got to start with the
Now,
tall one there.
this is from Lynch's Irish Tavern. This is not something they regularly have. This was a gift from Lynch's Irish Tavern in Port Huron, Michigan, for us to try on the show. And it may be the last time we ever get to try. This is a very discontinued, aged mead, honey wine beer
about
thing.
The same amount there.
So, all right, John, what do you think on this?
Smells like root beer.
Oh, that's right. He told me. I forgot about that. Oh, that's interesting. That's like sarsaparilla.
Yeah. It's got a very wood-like taste to it.
Yeah. So I would not call this a beer. Not at all. I don't know if you'd call this like... that's right. He did say this came out about the time that like Rowdy and Not Your Father's Root Beer and all that stuff was going on. I do remember that conversation now.
It's interesting, though.
It is interesting.
It said birch, didn't it?
Yeah. I like it. I don't love it, but I would
Got
say
like a hint of like currant or dark cherries or something at the end of it.
yeah, it definitely tastes to me like a very complex homemade root beer kind of thing.
Yeah. See if we got a description on the bottle.
There
here.
you go. Can you read that in that light?
Oh yeah. Birch wine fermented with hops and honey added. See, there's a year on here. 9%, 22 ounces.
That went down pretty easy.
I'm not going to try and pronounce that. It's from Montague, Michigan.
Yep. We like supporting our Michigan breweries.
For sale in Michigan only. So there is... I'm just going to read the whole thing
I did hear at one point that there's over 1,000 breweries now in Michigan. So
I believe it.
Yeah.
All right, so party like a Clericon, if I'm saying that right. I'm going to keep butchering it because the word is in this paragraph a couple times.
Do you want me to look at it for you?
Oh, actually, there's pronunciation there. Clericon.
Clericon. All right.
I got it right.
Never even heard of this word, but go
Me
ahead.
neither. There's pronunciation in it, thankfully. Like their better-known cousin, the leprechaun, Clericons are mischievous Celtic fairies who enjoy playing practical jokes. Clericons live in wine cellars and are avid drinkers. Oh, it's us.
Yep.
Treat him well, and a Clericon will use magical powers to guard your cellar, prevent casks from leaking, and keep the contents from going bad. Favorite Clericon pastime is riding sheep bareback on moonlight nights. These wee folk know how to party. Well, we're not wee, and we don't ride sheep. At least I don't ride sheep. I don't know about you.
Well, they did say it's for the practical. They're practical jokers and stuff. And so I got to tell you now, the practical joke is on you. I did put some sleeping pills and X-Lax in that for you.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic.
No.
Well, I'll finish the rest of it here, and then we'll have to take a quick break while I go pass out on the toilet. This libation is a perfect tribute to the small and mischievous Clericon. It is naturally light and... It naturally and lightly teases with each sip, and the combination of honey and hops mystifies the senses. Its potency is wryly bellied. What? Okay. And by the bottom of the bottle, Clericon has elusively worked its magic. Oh, maybe you did roofie it. Remember, while riding sheep under the moonlight is fun, a RSUI, riding sheep under the influence, is another matter. So, party like a Clericon, but do so responsibly.
Okay, I like it.
So only ride your sheep while sober.
Yep, only ride your sheep. Well, that's good life
That
advice.
doesn't sound like any fun, though. If you're going to ride a sheepy, I think you got to be annihilated.
There you go, John. So yeah, that's kind of fun.
I'll
And
let a little bit of that warm up. Tastes a little warm. That's interesting.
yeah. Now, what on the whole, having a beer with a buddy, or in this case, not a beer, having what tastes like a root beer.
It's like a hopped root beer.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. Kind of dig it.
Well, on that note, I was kind of thinking, 101, there's a couple different ways we could have played with this.
Real quick, the thanks to, who was it at Lynch's?
Scott Scandalito.
Well, thank you, Mr. Scandalito.
Yes.
I said that right, for sharing this with us. Much appreciated. And cheers to you and your fine establishment, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you, Scott. Lynch's Irish Tavern, Port Huron, Michigan.
That is good. I'm only going to get a little. I know you wanted to save some of that.
Yeah, no, go ahead. And just a little taste in the bottom of it, just say.
Yeah.
Well, so speaking of having a drink with a buddy here, with 101, there's different ways we could have gone with this. We could have talked about the C101 Jeepster, which we've done before. Those other things. But I was thinking, the old 101, kind of like back to the basics, like when you take a base class at college and you take the 101 or whatever. And, maybe we can talk about a few things. But I was thinking about it. I saw a post, I think it was Facebook, might have even been Instagram or something, but somebody was talking, it had to have been Facebook because it was in a group, and somebody was talking the other day and in one of my car groups, and they had said that they had moved to the area, and not our area, wherever area they were. I don't even know what state, country, whatever they were in, but they said they had moved to the area, and they were wondering if there was any car scene, and how they could, meet some car people and get together. Now, of course, the simple answer a lot of times is, go to car shows, drive-ins, things like that. But those aren't always the greatest to do that, because a lot of times you get people who are enthusiasts for only that. They're only car show enthusiasts. True. Maybe they buy a car and like. This was a guy who liked to fabricate and build stuff. And so I got thinking about it. In the 4x4 world, it's even more difficult because we don't typically do like car shows. I mean, we do have Wheels in the Woods, which is coming up here October 9th. But, and that's a 4x4 show, as well as a all vehicle show. Yeah. But typically there's not a lot of great places to figure out. So how do you get friends in the 4x4 community? And I was thinking of a couple different things, and I'm sure maybe you've got some ideas too.
Well, I excuse me, not so many specifics other than, I was kind of brought into it by you, somebody who's kind of in the world and knows about it. So a friend of mine, she does the fakewrenching.com website, used to go by the Michigan Jeep Girl. Yeah. And she talks about that a lot. Is kind of how she got
Is she the artist formerly known as Michigan Jeep Girl now?
No, she just goes by not MJG now.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. I don't know what the switch was with that. I'd like to try and get her on for an interview still one of these days. Okay. She moved out of state, so it might be a bit of a challenge. Yeah. But no, she's around, just kind of got really deep into the Jeep world. She does like clothing, predominantly women's line clothing. But she helps promote a lot of products at Jeep shows and car shows or, off-road shows, stuff like that. And when she got a Jeep, she just started going to like meet and greets. So she got on Facebook. She found some of the local Jeep clubs. A lot of them have local meet and greets, and you can do that. You can just go, you can show up and kind of just wander around and talk to people and go from there. And I know that's how she made a lot of friends and actually got into making a living. That's what she does. She works these booths. She goes to these shows. She really works hard and has earned everything she's gotten. It's really cool seeing what she's done just from buying a Jeep.
Well, absolutely. Absolutely. I was, definitely thinking about that. I was also thinking about, I don't know, this is a shallow way of looking at it or whatever. And of course, you don't want anybody to ever use you, but buy yourself a hoist. Yeah. You want friends? It's kind of like they say, buy a truck. All your friends need help moving now. Yeah. And
a welder. Everybody needs stuff fixed.
Things like that. And
in my defense, I only borrowed the equipment. I learned how to do it, though.
Yeah, exactly. But there's something I've noticed before, especially in the car world, and you see a little bit of it in the 4x4 world. But let's say you're a skilled fabricator, wrencher, whatever, and you've got a forte. But most people are typically really good at something. Like somebody might be really good at body work. Or somebody might be really good, like me, at building axles. Or somebody might be really good at rebuilding transmissions or something like that.
I like suspension. I don't know why.
So if you really develop a name in your community, in your enthusiast community for doing something like that, then, you try to meet the other people that have, the skills and other things. And that's where a lot of the horse trading and helping each other comes out. So, I'll help you, take and re-gear an axle, and you might help me eventually rebuild a manual transmission or something. Because I've only rebuilt one before, and you've done a couple AX-15s now. So
same one, just twice.
Oh, okay. All right.
Same difference.
All right. Well, you're learning.
Oh, yeah. And do not use regular grease when you put it together. Use Vaseline.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm an idiot.
Why?
So the grease thickens up when it mixes with the oil, and it will really thicken everything up. The Vaseline just dissolves.
Where's it go, though?
I mean, it's still there, but it's a thinner viscosity than the grease. The grease has a lot of additives that thicken up with the oil. And what the result is, thicker oil, you get your synchronizer tabs don't work properly because they're too thick and they don't work right.
You know, it's funny.
And then they break.
It's funny that you actually mentioned that because I had forgotten all about that when I was in auto tech in high school, and we rebuilt old Ford top loader 4-speed manuals. We had a pile of them, and we all rebuilt them, which is funny because those are actually pretty valuable these days. But that was our learning transmission. I think we had maybe a half a dozen of them. And I remember that now. We did, because all the kids were making all the stupid Vaseline jokes.
Yep.
You know, and we all got a big old jar of Vaseline, and we're sitting there, you know, putting all the needle bearings together and putting the, you know, whatever, packing the cages and doing all the stuff. And we're all thinking it was the stupidest thing. But I remember him telling us that that's the way you put it together.
Yeah, and I learned the hard way because I didn't realize it was a problem, but over time it thickened up.
Huh.
And from not releasing, at some point something stuck while I was shifting.
No kidding.
Couldn't put it in either gear on that selector. And they must have both been engaged because I chipped teeth on 2 of the gears and the counter shaft and my input shaft.
Wow.
And as a result, had to rebuild the transmission for the second time.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So this episode's brought to you by Vaseline and adult beverages.
This is definitely talking about the after show.
All right, folks. So, you know, that's John and I do have some fun at the after show like that. So once again, you know, go to Patreon.
Not actually using, just talking about.
Yeah. So, you know, I got thinking about that. I was like, yeah, there's a lot of different things you can do. And another one is buy a trailer.
Yeah.
And, you know, next thing you know, your buddies are all like, hey, can you help me move this car this weekend? Especially if it's got a winch on it.
Yeah.
Trailer with a winch. I bought an old junker here or there, you know, can I pay for gas and do this? And, you know, and you go on road trips, you meet people. It's an interesting way to do it.
Yeah, for sure.
So, you know, and that one thing that you do have to be careful in this community, though, like many communities, is you don't want to be the sponge or the soul sucker that only takes and never gives back.
Yeah.
So if you don't have any skills, I mean, don't try to necessarily. I mean, you can always ask your newfound friend that rebuilds an axle that's offered to help rebuild your axle. You can say, hey, can I give you a couple of bucks? You know, or whatever.
Yeah.
And he might be like, no. Well, if he says no, then you need to show up with a couple cases of beer and some pizzas.
Yep, done that.
You know.
Gone through many cases of beer with you.
And it's just a way of doing that. Or saying, hey, you know, if I don't have a lot of skills here or there, I'd like to learn something. What can I help you with around your garage? You know.
Again, that and many cases of beer, and I learned a lot.
Yeah, exactly. And so there's a lot of ways to do this and to do it correctly. And that was really what a lot of the advice I saw on that Facebook post.
Yeah.
People were like, hey, buy a trailer, buy a truck, buy a hoist, buy a welder, buy a tubing bender. You know, and these are all things in the off-road community. One guy said, learn how to rebuild shocks, you know, like Fox shocks and all that stuff. And
I've seen a lot of that in the, I guess you could call it the small engine off-road world.
Oh, okay.
So there's a couple other groups of friends of mine, and that was kind of how they all became friends, was through, you know, needing help with dirt bikes or four-wheelers and rebuilding forks on dirt bikes or engines on dirt bikes and four-wheelers. And, you know, one guy is a motorcycle guy, and my buddy and him tore that thing apart in his barn and then took it out in pieces because he didn't want to put it back together.
Why didn't you want to put it back together?
Blew the engine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But that's something I've noticed a lot of great deals on Marketplace lately is motorcycles. It's getting to that time of year where people aren't selling them, and I
watch every now and then, and I'd love to get like an old Harley project, like something like an old, like 70s or 80s, something that is just beat up that I can just put back together and have fun with. I don't know if I'd ever actually, you know, do big trips on it, but screwing around on the back roads or something probably.
Yeah.
I always thought it'd be cool to have an old bike like that.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. Speaking of old things, you know, and I guess we're switching gears here a little bit, but you sent me a link to a pretty interesting Power Wagon there.
Yeah, so my buddy Kyle from work, shout out to Kyle. Hope you're enjoying the show. He sent me this from the page Safari All the Cars. And this is the captions from 1952 to 1958. Dodge made about 100 power wagons with what's called the Wilcox chassis swivel, a two-piece frame, and this is great art taking on challenging terrain.
Articulating.
They spelled it wrong. I just read what they wrote. I didn't write that.
Okay.
But yeah, that there's some cool looking pictures there. If you hear this, I'll share it to the 4x4 Talk page here. But yeah, scrolling through these pictures. Now, what I wonder about this is you mentioned someone we both know has one.
Chad.
Is that always articulating, or does that lock? Does that have like a lock for when you don't want it to?
I don't know, and I mean, I know you can't dial them up immediately, real easily, but
yeah.
I think it always articulates.
Okay.
I think, but it could lock. There might be a locking
I
mechanism.
mean, it looks like a seriously beefy pivot point. I just wonder, its lateral stability.
So his is a reproduction.
Okay.
There was a guy that was reproducing the swivel frame assemblies.
Yeah.
I believe it's no longer a thing, or no one's reproducing them again. Chad has one of the earlier reproduction units.
Nice.
And you would cut a power wagon in half in the frame. You would bolt this in. I think you welded in. And there's
the pictures I see, it looks welded and riveted maybe, but that rivet might be from something else.
Well, there's essentially a big, like, kingpin type center swivel that goes into the frame, and it allows the frame to twist, left or right, opposite of what the front of the frame. It's a very simple concept.
Oh, yeah.
And, as long as you have enough travel in your rear drive shaft, it can, it's an interesting way of doing it. There's been people who have made swivel frame Dodges or other swivel frame vehicles, like for Top Truck Challenge with four-wheeler and stuff. And there's people that have experimented with a number of years. I think really the reason that swivel frame technology never took off was because four-link and coil spring technology, where you could get that flex out of a solid frame, really took over, because these were old leaf spring vehicles.
Yeah.
And they didn't have the technology.
Didn't have that articulation from
exactly.
each wheel.
So they were trying to get the articulation out of the middle of the vehicle, which, I mean, they are kind of one of the first rock crawlers.
Oh, yeah.
These articulating
That's
frame
all the
power
pictures that
wagons.
were in this article show it. All the power wagons are all in rocks and all twisted. It's pretty cool looking.
It is neat, isn't it?
Yeah.
You said they only made about 100 of them originally, huh?
According to that post, I did no research other than reading the caption of the article.
Sounds about right. You should post some link to that or whatever on 4x4 Talk.
Yeah, I'll do that for sure.
And, get it. Speaking of which, we've had quite a bit of traffic there lately. We've had, more and more people joining. And
I've noticed that lately, yeah.
We've had a lot of new posts, people commenting about things they're hearing in the episodes. We're having people comment. They did have a gentleman, I don't have his name right here without looking at 4x4 Talk, but he is an Australian, is a listener, and
mentioned about the 105 thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I really think we need to do the 105 in a couple episodes.
Yeah.
And talk about those. But
and I've been a little absent on a lot of social media lately. I'm just honestly tired of a lot of it. And I'll surf through Facebook a couple times a day, but anything else, I have notifications just off on everything.
But if you don't stay on it, how are you going to know who the president is or anything like that?
The what?
The president.
It's a bad joke.
Cute. Yeah. No. I was telling someone the other day when I went and did my student teaching in the early 2000s, our history books, my history book that had my name in it, written in it, was still there from when I went to high school in the 90s. So, that's only 5-6 years at that point.
Yeah.
Not that crazy. But the history book ended with the sentence, as we now enter the war in Vietnam, or whatever year of the war in Vietnam, it will only time will tell how our President Nixon handles this conflict. So in the 90s, our history books ended in the 70s with President Nixon.
Nice.
So as far as I was concerned, when I graduated, Nixon was the president.
And one of my college English classes, I don't remember what year that would have been. Would have been 08, 09 maybe? 07 or 08, I'll call it.
Such a baby.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
I pointed out the map that was on the wall in the classroom still had the USSR on it.
Yeah, that fell in 91, right?
I don't remember. I
Pretty
should
sure.
know more. I was not a history major by any means.
Pretty sure.
What in the hell was that?
What?
Yeah, that. What are you doing?
I'm trying to get to my glass to my lips.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right-handed, elbows immobilized. Couldn't work.
All right, that's funny. You need that straw that we made up at the bar that one night. So Keith is sitting there, and he wanted to try someone's mixed drink. So he put like 8 or 9 straws together, reached across the table just to get a sample of that drink.
Yep, it works out, man. Oh, geez.
Oh, that was funny.
So, I would like to briefly mention, and we'll talk about them further as we use them, but I don't know the name of the company, and I've actually done a reach out. The gentleman is Mike Fuchs, I believe is his name, Fuchs. He sells Cummins conversion motor mounts
Okay.
for Super Duty trucks. Sent me a set to use for the new Super Duty project with the Cummins
Nice.
diesel, which is yet to be unnamed. Maybe it'll just be, yet to be unnamed project or whatever. I don't know.
Called Project Rawhide.
Rawhide.
Yeah, I mean you got the cattle leather or saddle leather.
Maybe. We'll see. But he sent me a set of super beefy looking motor mounts that,
Nice.
according to him, take and they bolt right down to the 6.4 motor mounts
Nice.
to the Cummins, and it's a bolt-in deal.
Very nice.
I told him I'd be 100% honest about the product, though.
Yeah.
He sent all the bolts, all the hardware, everything.
Nice.
The welds are very, very good. One thing that I wanted to give him a little bit of a advice on is, and now I might put my foot in my mouth when I go to put the engine in the truck, but I think what he should do is either send some directions or send on the motor mounts, at least have some sort of mark front up.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at these and I'm flipping them around and I'm going, okay, is this, or left and right?
Yeah.
I'm going, is this the left one or the right one? Because they are shaped slightly differently. And what's up and down. Now, I know it'll be easy, quote unquote, easy enough to figure out once I get the engine sitting down there,
Yeah.
but I really wanted to paint those motor mounts, bolt them to the engine, and then just be able to drop it down in there. So now I'm going to be in that situation where I've got to have the engine kind of hovering in there and move
Line it
around.
up.
Yeah, line it up
Yeah.
and figure out where it fits. So, beyond that, though, they look great, and
Nice.
I will give a further shout out and review to those as they go into the project.
Nice.
But for now, if anybody is looking to buy a set of direct bolt-in 12-valve or 24-valve motor mounts into a Super Duty truck, especially 08 to 10, I don't know what other products he's making, but I know he's making them from the 08 to 10 right now. Get a hold on Facebook, and you probably want to go to like the Fummins Tech Group, Fummins. There's a Fummins Tech Group, and join it. And this gentleman is somewhat active in there, and you can search him in the group, Mike Fuchs, and he, he's making these, and great price on them. And just contact him, send him a private message, say you heard about him on the Wheelin' Radio Show. Or the Wheelin' Show, and you'd like to buy a set.
Nice.
And he can tell you his current pricing at the time and all that. I don't know what his current pricing is, if it goes up and down or anything like that, so I'm not going to say the price. But good-looking product, though. Good-looking product, man.
Very cool.
Speaking of which, I've done nothing to that truck. Besides, that was, man, I tell you what, a little bit of a bummer. So there was a parts guy down in Ohio that I bought a whole bunch of parts for the project from, and some of them are harder to find, rarer parts. Some of them not so much. They just all came from various parts that he had. And one of the things he was supposed to send me was an 08 to 10 tilt column plastic for a manual transmission truck, so I could block off where the original shifter hole went.
Right.
He sent me a 99 to 07. I reached out to him, and I got crickets.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah,
That's always a bummer.
And so I only gave him, I think, $20 or $30 for the piece. So I'm not super mad about it.
Still bummed, though.
Yeah, if we have a listener out there and you're doing a manual conversion on a 99 to 07, reach out to me if you're looking for the column plastics to make your steering column a manual column that doesn't have the shifter on it. Otherwise, I'll just throw it on eBay soon or something like that because it's of no use to me, but it doesn't fit that column at all.
Yeah.
Completely different plastic, but everything else seemed to fit that he had, so
that's cool.
We'll find out. How's your projects going? How's XJ going and everything, man?
Good. I was making some pretty decent headway. I don't remember if I posted the pictures of the cardboard templates and then the steel ones that I made from those. I've actually,
I think so.
I redid all but one of them pretty much. Actually, all but three of them. I actually started cutting away some of the metal, the overlapping pieces, so I could make it sit a little better, and just found easier ways to do it. And then I got the quarter panel cut on the passenger side.
Okay.
And realized that what I was going to do wasn't going to work. So I ended up cutting out a lot more metal, but I was able to make one big piece to patch the entire side. So nice and simple,
Very cool.
lot more heavy duty of a repair this way. I've still got to do the driver's side right around where the fuel filler is. There's a lot of structure under there, and a lot of it is going to be really difficult to get, so I may end up just capping it all. But what I'm redesigning to go over that is going to be a lot stronger than what's behind it anyways.
Yeah.
So I'm not too worried about it. Excuse me. So once that's done, a little bit of prep and some welding. We had a little bit of an incident on the boat about a week and a half ago now that kind of put me behind about a week.
Something you can talk about or no?
Yeah, so the guy is okay. I'll start off by saying that.
Okay.
The long story of it short, we had a diver kind of pop up unconscious at the surface.
Unconscious swimming is frowned upon.
No, he was floating on his back.
Okay.
And we looked down. I thought he was just relaxing, as some divers do if they're, stressed out. Especially he was diving what's called a rebreather, so some pretty advanced equipment.
Okay.
And when we realized his lips were blue and his face was like blue and gray, we knew he was unconscious. So I'm the one who jumped in. I got to him, inflated his gear, swam him to the back of the boat, and spent... so the bruise is gone on my arm, but from about here all the way to here was a solid black bruise for about a week.
From what?
So we were in about 2 to 3 foot waves with all of this going on, and me holding on to the ladder, fighting, going up and down in the waves, holding myself to the ladder in the boat, holding him and his gear to the ladder in the boat, watching his head so the platform didn't hit him, watching my head so I didn't hit the platform, and trying to keep both our heads above water while the people on the boat worked to get him on.
Okay.
The long of all of that short, we got him on. While he was on the platform, he kind of popped his eyes open, and then he started kind of coming to a little more. And to say I was exhausted and spent, I've never felt that out of it in my life. I mean, I was hurting bad, and it took everything I had to climb up onto the boat. I had to sit down for a minute so I didn't pass out or something. And then I got him on the boat. We have an emergency recall system. So we sounded that. We got everybody on the boat, and then we booked it to get back in to get him to EMS.
Okay.
They did take him by helicopter.
No CPR required or anything?
Excuse me. No, he came to.
Okay.
We had some oxygen, so we were giving him that. He was kind of, awake, alert. Not alert, but awake, conscious, and responding on the boat. Sheriff boat, they hauled out there. They brought a couple EMTs. They came on our boat. They kind of took over treating him, checking him, monitoring vitals and everything. And then again, the long of it short, we got to one of the docks there, tied up, secured everything, and they got him off, took him to the ambulance, took him to the helicopter, and then to, I believe it was St. Mary's in Saginaw. They thought potential diving-related injury. They have a hyperbaric chamber there that they can treat that, so they brought him there. I don't know if any of the guys involved or around this listened to the show, but a huge shout out to everybody who participated with that, of the first responders. You guys did a hell of a job, and I'm just glad everybody was able to work together so efficiently and quickly
Do they know what happened? Why he went unconscious?
We believe it was an equipment issue.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's about it. I mean, we may not know. He checked out healthy.
Yeah.
He was fine. Initially, they thought medical, but he checked out fine. I mean, could have still been a fluke. We all know how that goes. More than likely equipment, though.
Gotcha.
So that was something. But I've learned a new pain scale. So you've heard the phrase, feel like you've been hit by a truck.
Yeah.
So far, the levels I've gone through dealing with this, or after the fact, feel like you've been hit by about a 1-ton, downgraded to about a 1500 series, maybe like an S10 or Dakota after that, and then just moves down to something like a Miata or a Focus, or I don't know if a Prius would fit in here.
Okay.
I mean, if I hit a Prius, I'm just gonna go jump in the lake anyways.
Jeez.
So scaling it based on that. I couldn't really do much last week. I mean, like I said, I was
wondering where you were.
I just kind of dropped off of everything for a while. I mean, I was hurting real bad. I got home. I was going to sleep at like midnight, which for me is not normal.
Gotcha.
I mean, I went to work and I could barely move. Like, I'd hurt to walk. I had hurt my leg. I have an injury on my left leg. It's been taking a while to heal up, and I gouged that up and a couple new ones. A lot of bruises everywhere, and just beat up from being beat against the ladder like that.
Well,
but in the grand scheme of it, he's okay, and that's all that matters. I'll deal with the rest of it.
Good job. You probably helped to save this man's life, is
group effort.
Undoubtedly, and then everyone else. You said the paramedics, first responders, Sanilac County.
What would have been? I know the Sanilac Fire Department.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I don't know who else. The Sheriff Department obviously was involved. I believe it was them in the Fire Department predominantly. Okay. But a shout out to the rest of our crew for sure.
Nice.
And there were a couple of his dive buddies that came up, and they assisted as best they could. And I mean, we got him back.
Good.
So I'm pushed back a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm back to full-time at work right now, so I'm really trying to get out there and get more done. I had plans to do some stuff out there today, and parents kind of roped me in to help them move some office stuff, and it kind of ruined my whole day. So
well,
I don't have another day off until a week from today.
Well, we'll see you next week. But definitely a good day of diving is a day when you come back with all or most of your divers.
Yep. And, that was an early end to our weekend, to say the least. Yeah. After that, I don't think anybody really wanted to go back out.
Gotcha.
The weather turned. It is starting to turn, so it's we only got a few weeks left until that wraps for the season. Yep. Then the after season stuff kind of begins. But that means I'll have a little more time to be more steady with this. So
perfect, man. Well, we've got for all our listeners who've been listening to us ramble on here today, we have Wheels in the Woods, October 9th, 2021, coming up. So if you're listening to this in 5 years, get in your time machine and come back.
Or look back on past events and see what you've missed in the past and how far we've come since now.
Exactly. October 9th, 2021 at 8060 or 8945 Marsh Road, and that's Clay Township, Michigan. You definitely want to come to this event this year, folks. It's an all-vehicle show. You can bring anything that has a motor, maybe doesn't have a motor. If it's
I want to see a flying machine there.
A flying machine?
Like one of those bike-powered flying machines.
Heck yeah.
I want to see that.
That'd be perfect. Something right out of a steampunk Edwardian novel or something,
I'm thinking more Da Vinci. I want to see a Da Vinci creation.
There you go, Da Vinci creation. The other thing we have going on, which we haven't mentioned at all, the museum, we have acquired basically doubled our space at the museum. The front part of the museum, we are going to be able to expand and put a lot more things in. I think we've mentioned on the show before that we're going to be able to do that. But what we're doing right now is we are helping my mom, who came on the show a long time ago and talked about the history of sleds, because she is the curator of the history of the Christmas tree walk. And she is liquidating a lot of the things they had stored in that other part of that building. And those are Christmas collectibles, hallmarks, blow molds, all sorts of anything Christmas that my late father had collected to expand upon his current collection. So she's not selling off the collection that people go and see at the house, but she's selling off the extras that my dad had kept boxed for many, many years. And that is open every single day that we are at the museum, which is Thursdays from 6 to 8:30 p.m. And she also goes and she posts other times that she's down there, a lot of times Saturdays, Sundays, things like that. And you can check out the museum as well. So it's really a twofold thing. If you've got a, if you're really into Christmas stuff and you just want to go see all that, and say your wife is really into the 4x4s and the off-road vehicles and she wants to see the museum, then, it's a great date night because, you can go see all of this Christmas stuff and she can go see the 4x4s. And you can do, or you can both see both of them, or vice versa, whatever the case may be. But
whatever floats your boat.
Yep. And if you go on Facebook to History of the Christmas Tree Walk, and you like that page, there'll be updates as to when she's open for selling those things. So, once she has all of that supply, and we're helping her liquidate all of that. Once she liquidates all of that, we're going to get that space. So,
nice.
Come check it out by all means.
I've been discussing a new display we might be getting for a little bit at least. Excuse me, a friend of our family's, as I believe it was a 72 CJ5.
Nice.
He's done a lot of work on that over the years. Is thinking about possibly bringing that. He's going to come check it out, talk to us about it, and it's pretty cool. My dad and I were there helping with some stuff the other day. He has an original 1972 Jeep catalog.
Nice.
And it's got his Jeep and all the other ones that were available at the time.
Nice.
And we flipped through that, and man, is that cool.
That sounds pretty neat.
That is awesome.
Sounds pretty neat. I think you need to bring that down, and I think you need to bring your mom to the Christmas collectible thing. Have her go shopping.
We have no space. I need space in my garage to keep working.
I'm just going to get a hold of her directly and be like, Patty, you need to come down to this.
I mean, you can. I'm sure she does a lot of the glass art stuff. She uses the name Patty's Pickens.
Oh, really?
And that's she's got a little art studio set up.
She sells stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, she's on, Etsy. She goes to a bunch of the craft shows in the area. No she makes lamps, kind of glass sculptures.
She
and
blows
stuff.
glass?
No, it's like different stuff she puts together. So kind of assembles really nice, neat displays.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they're really cool looking. She sold quite a few of them.
Nice.
And yeah, so there's probably a lot of glassware there I'm sure she'd love to get a hold of.
Probably. John, what else you got, buddy?
I don't think anything at the moment.
Well,
it's been a crazy couple of weeks.
Sure. And you hear that a lot from us, but it is what it is. We lead some interesting lives here.
Yeah, late season. I know we haven't had any episodes up in a while. Just life, man.
It is what it is. So if people want to hear more about us,
yep, facebook.com/4x4 talk or /group. Did you search 4x4 talk on Facebook?
Yep.
4x4 talk. Couple quick questions get you on the page. You can communicate with us when I remember to reply. Keith's usually there. You can see a lot of build pictures. I do post updates on Project XJ. A lot of people post stuff there that's just cool or interesting in the four-wheel drive world or anything automotive. If you got questions on a build, what to do, what not to do, things like that, post it up, ask away, and we'll go from there.
Absolutely. And Wheelin' is on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We try to be as active on all of them that we can. We're more active on Facebook than the other two. Same goes for the Museum of Off-Road Adventure. You can find us by searching for that on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, depending on what your favorite platform is. And there's also another really cool group that is slowly building as well on Facebook called 4x4 Museum. And that's where we post vintage, a lot of black and white photos and things like that way back in the day of old 4x4 ads and 4x4s in action in the 40s, 50s, 60s. Really cool stuff to check out. So great group to be into if you're into history. So make sure you join 4x4 Talk and 4x4 Museum.
And as we've talked, patreon.com/WheelinRadio accesses those $2 a month, gets you a lot of cool extras, stuff we don't normally get to or can't talk about on the shows. A little more personalized, a little more risque kind of content on there. So listen with caution, probably not meant for young ears.
Probably not.
So yeah, check that out. And then, as always, with wherever you're listening, make sure you hit like and subscribe. Keep hearing updates from us. Leave a comment or a review. Let us know what you think of the show. And go ahead and share whatever you want, wherever you want. Try to get some more people to listen.
Sounds good, buddy.
Thanks for listening, and have a good one, everybody.